We are live for the Young and Wrestling Podcast, episode 3. I am JJ the Mark, along with the XI guy here to cover the wrestling news, Raw, SmackDown, and whatever our topic of the week may be.
It's a nice Pandora's box, I promise.
Yeah, we're a little bit more prepared this week.
Are we?
I promise.
I don't think I am. I need a small loan of $1 million. Can you help me out?
I have $0.9 million. I do not have the full million.
0.9.
I do not have the full million. Wrong.
Jeez a whiz. All right, so I guess we should get started with the wrestling news this week. So I want to go with the big four. And the first one I want to tackle is Daniel Bryan getting a release. It has been rumored somewhere on the internet, I believe Reddit, right?
That's where I only saw a screen cap of this, but I believe Reddit that's usually where this kind of stuff comes from. I know that one Dolphin 889 or whatever he's called, who was doing the pay-per-view results for a while, like a couple of years ago. I know he came from Reddit, so I believe this also came from Reddit.
Remember Mets,
oh yes, Mets fan 589 or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my lord.
I think he was doing the same thing. He was doing the same thing, Undertaker's going to come out tonight.
Yeah, my God.
Why do people do? We're gonna get sidetracked because this is what we do. Why the hell do people do that? What do you gain from that?
A girlfriend,
yay!
probably.
Yay! I leaked this wrestling news. First off, why would you read it if you're a fan? Because I want to be surprised. I don't want to know who's gonna win the Royal Rumble, or stuff like that. So there's that. And then there's also, why would you leak it? Why would you try to ruin it, so to speak, for fans?
I'm totally not gonna get laid tonight. So here are the spoilers.
It's like, I don't know. I don't get it.
My God.
So yes, this guy posted on Reddit.
Yeah, Scott Keith is his name, and he posted an anonymous email. It was from someone claiming to work in WWE's Human Resources Department, stating that one of their coworkers processed a release for Daniel Bryan coming up. This coming Monday. And it was really weird about that because I know you mentioned that they don't release people except on Fridays.
Yeah, that's what struck me as the odd part. Not that they would release him, because at this point, if he's begging for it and they sort of want to, just sort of do one of these things and wash their hands of it, I could see them releasing Bryan, although I don't think they will. But I guess I could fathom that. But when he said Monday, I was like, no, I think that's BS. Because they really, unless it's an emergency, you messed up bad, unless you cause this company public shame, they release you on Fridays.
Oh yeah, I mean the fact of the matter is that even WWE said there's no truth to that, and it's just so interesting to me to see that somebody is now trying to get this rumor mill going on about Daniel Bryan. Now it's WrestleMania season. He's teasing about trying to return to the ring, which, by the way, I saw that video of him, I think it was Instagram, and he was lifting these, doing these squats.
With these huge weights on his supposedly bad neck.
Yeah, my God.
And people on Twitter, and I'm gonna get on a bit of a rant here. We've talked about this privately, but the people on Twitter who are like, Daniel Bryan can't wrestle, he's going to be crippled. They act like Daniel Bryan's a dying dog, or he's some dude dying of cancer. It's I think Daniel Bryan knows his body.
Isn't his finisher called the Old Yeller? Sorry.
What?
Isn't that how it works? Because he is like a dying dog.
That's a terrible joke.
You're a
joke. I thought you were being serious for a second, because I was going to say I don't think so. Then I realized I think you're joking around.
Might as well change it to the Old Yeller.
Now, if I'm WWE, I tell them don't do that damn flying headbutt ever again.
Yeah, I know we talked about it earlier, in private. Listen, if they're gonna ban a move in the WWE, it has to be the flying headbutt.
I don't get. Man, we're really rambling.
We're
really rambling here, but I like where this conversation is going.
Yeah.
I don't get sick about a lot in the ring. I can watch Edge spearing Jeff Hardy off the ladder. I can watch Mick Foley, falling off the Hell in the Cell. There's two things that kind of make me ill per se in the ring. Mick Foley versus Rock, I quit. Where Rock sort of took liberties and just smashed this guy with a chair over and
Yeah, the
over.
chair shot over Mick Foley's head was
That
oh my
that gets
god.
me a little like
I
I
felt it.
kind of feel a little disgusted watching that. And then the flying headbutt, really, no matter who does it, whether it's the obvious example or a guy like Daniel Bryan or Harley Race or Dynamite Kid, it just that's the move that makes me more sort of sick to my stomach than anything else.
But like you just answered like the ultimate question is that like you see guys like Harley Race who is of course he's a legend in his own right, but then you look at like Dynamite Kid who is just an absolute train wreck.
He's messed up his life big
Yeah,
time.
his life is over. He's a mental case, and but then we go to like Chris Benoit, and you think after him they would say, okay, maybe let's not use that move anymore. But what do? They give it to Daniel Bryan, and I just
As if people weren't calling him Benoit like already when he came in.
yeah, I mean, and the fact of the matter is, it looks more damaging to the user than it does to the opponent.
Yeah,
Anyways.
maybe it's sort of looking back, hindsight, whatever. But like even at the time, I've never cared for the flying headbutt as a move. But
Yeah.
so these Daniel Bryan rumors, they're BS. Sky Genie, our great guy in the chat, brings up a great point. Brings up a decent point that Bryan was doing it before WWE. So
True.
fair enough, I guess.
But like,
And then he also mentioned that WWE wouldn't wait a week to fire him. They would just let him go.
fire him. Yeah, exactly. That's why rumors are it's just going to be rumors until they actually happen. I don't know. You think at least if WWE is going to like stop a move from coming. I know we bashed like the domestication of a lot of the indie darlings, right? But you think that's the one move they would kind of say,
I think that's the one where I say, okay, I don't understand not letting this guy, do his 450 flip from the outside or whatever, whatever it may be. But
like they took
can
away
we stop
Seth Rollins'
this?
curb stomp first.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. But yeah, they take away the curb stomp, but not the flying headbutt.
Headbutt, really. But speaking of indie darlings or former indie darlings, let's talk about CM Punk for a second. It looks like CM Punk and Dana White are at an impasse here as far as when he's going to show up to the UFC.
Now, before you get onto it, I am of the crowd. I am one of those people. I'm not discouraging Punk. If he wants to do UFC, fine, whatever, good for him. But I am one of those people who thinks that this is not going to happen. I'm not going to believe it until it's like written in stone. You know what I mean? I just at this point, like he was signed last December, like before. It's been a whole year, almost a year and a half coming up here since he was signed to UFC. I mean, either piss or get off the pot.
Right. The thing is that when it comes to CM Punk, he's been with UFC for 13 months, and it's been all hype, it's been all interviews. I understand that they kind of have to at least keep him in the conversation for UFC because he is walking money. No matter whether you like him or dislike him, he's just
he's a draw. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So the thing is that CM Punk wants to debut in UFC 200, especially now because Ronda Rousey's movie has been pushed back, so she cannot fight against Holly Holm in a rematch. So that's what he would like to do. However, Dana White wants to put him in UFC 199.
Now this is where I'm not quite sure what Dana's thinking is. Like, it's UFC 200. You might as well do something special.
Right, and the thing is with Dana White, he picked out two opponents, and they're going to face each other in the prelims next month to face CM Punk in. Would you like to know who they are?
Probably two people I've never heard of, but go ahead.
They're two newcomers.
Of course.
Mickey Gall.
Actually, I'm more interested. What's their record? Do you know their record?
I do. It's Mickey Gall, who is 1-0.
Okay.
And Michael Jackson, 0-0. 0-0.
So CM Punk will either be facing
Punk versus Jackson.
Yes.
Please.
CM Punk versus Michael Jackson. We need that just for the memes.
Just
I do it for
just
the memes, do it for the vines.
yeah, really, please give me a headline, baby. Um, and he is, and someone did ask him if he was going to continue fighting past his debut, because I know that's been a topic between you and me. You say that he's just not going to fight at all. I say that he's only going to make it for one match and then just, wash the blood off his hands. He's saying, I didn't move up to Milwaukee training my ass off and getting hurt, going back into the gym just so I can one and done it. This is what I do now. And to
Okay.
that I say,
Well, there's your thoughts on. Sky Genie says he thinks this move is because if Punk loses at 200, it will make the event a disaster. Dana will bank that event on Punk because he's a proven draw.
so basically the Brock Lesnar effect, where Brock Lesnar lost to Frank Mir in like
I
what,
guess
9
so.
seconds,
I guess
but
so.
he
But
was
like
such a big name.
people
Make
still
so
bought
much
it
money. Yeah, really. So that makes sense. That's really safe. So yeah, that's really smart. I didn't think about that.
because like people. I mean, I would think. I don't know again too much about UFC or anything, but I would think they're gonna have some sort of big matchup lined up for 200 anyway.
Right.
And people are probably going to buy it because it's 200. Something
Oh yeah.
something
Oh
special is
yeah.
going to happen or what have you.
Yeah, who knows? And I'm very curious to see who Holly Holm's opponent will be, because like I'm definitely interested in her.
It'll
Uh,
be weird having, and I know they had they've had women's fights without Rousey, but it'll be weird seeing a what I'm assuming headlining
woman
UFC fight
fighter.
without Ronda Rousey.
But it's not like it'll like suck or anything, because man, Holly conquered, Rousey that whole fight.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't remember what everything is 193. Yeah, 193. But then we're gonna move on to the next soon to be former indie darling. We've now noted how WWE officials wanted to debut AJ Styles as a surprise entrant in a 30-man Royal Rumble main event at one point, but those plans could have changed when the news got out that he and others from New Japan may be coming into the company. Styles has finally commented on the subject about coming up to the WWE, or specifically the Rumble, and he says, "I don't know what the future holds for me. I'll tell you what. If I'm not recovering from some weird armbar submission and there's a spot in the Royal Rumble, how specific." Um, and he goes, "I don't deserve a thing. I don't deserve you, but I'll tell you, if you put me in the Royal Rumble, I'll kick some ass for you guys." Um, and to
hey,
that I say, worst kept secret of 2016.
uh, you know, um, this is I again it goes back to why do people have to ruin things? Can't we just have
Well, don't you
nice
think like
things?
WWE.com did that though for themselves? Because it really, like, once they, like, after like the Wrestle Kingdom event, it was just downhill from there.
Yeah, at this point, they probably the better route might be just to come out and say yes. Just announced AJ Styles will be in the Rumble.
Yeah, no, really, no, I agree. It's just when it comes to, like, obviously I'm a huge fan of AJ Styles. I always have been, and I've always said that AJ Styles deserves to be in the WWE. He has always been the top guy that's ever actually never really been in the company. I know he's had that match with Hurricane. We all know, but like, he's
As
never
far as actual, like, this is AJ Styles, big name. You should be excited to see him.
Oh yeah, and they just did a live event today, with Finn Balor working as a heel against Sami Zayn, and he's doing like the Bullet Club stuff and putting a gun like hands
I
gesture
did
to
see I
himself.
did see a picture of that earlier on. Sky Genie brings up the point that a teaser does help draw in the Rumble, even if he does not appear, which is
Oh
which is
yeah, I
very true.
agree.
So,
Just with the number one, that's all they need. That would have actually helped too. That would have
uh,
helped.
you know, uh, if I'm WWE, I put you. I mean, at this point, there's not enough people on the roster. You have to put her. I kind of feel like you have to put him in. I tell you what, as interested as I am to see AJ Styles, and I do hope we see him in the Rumble, I think I'm more interested in Nakamura.
Hmm.
There's something about this guy that I really want to see how they handle him. Are they going to treat him with a respect that, let's say, you can use internet fan, but kind of everybody's an internet fan, but are they going to treat him with the respect that an NJPW fan would have for him, or are they going to make him like, typical, Yoshitatsu Tajiri, like
No,
Ching
no,
Chong?
they will not. They will not Taka Michinoku Nakamura.
I
They
would
will-
hope not, but I
I
just,
don't think so.
it's one of those things. I'm gonna sound like one of those guys, but like it's WWE,
It's not gonna happen. No way. Now my question is, I guess for when it comes to Nakamura, do you think they're gonna change his name?
I think so. They change everybody. Now it might be as simple as
They
taking
might
a,
just even just let him have like Nakamura.
yeah,
But no,
it might be something as simple as taking a letter off, or it might be something similar. But they change everybody's names. That's just the way they do business, and I don't necessarily mind it.
well, yeah, well, I mean, with the exception of two
I
guys.
think
Well,
I think AJ might keep his name. I
yeah,
think that's a
AJ's keeping his
possibility. I,
name.
I don't
There's
see
no
them.
way.
I don't see them calling him something else. And hey,
Like-
for all we know, maybe Nakamura will keep his name. I don't know if that's his real name or not. I'm not too sure, but
Right.
I would venture to guess he will probably be called something else.
Oh yeah.
And Sky
Um,
Genie says he thinks Doc will be Luke again, and I would agree with that. I think he'll be Luke
Yeah, I
Gallows
don't see
again.
why they, I know they don't call Matt Bloom like A Train or Albert. They just call him. Yeah, they call him like Jason Albert, don't they?
They were for a bit, but now like on break, he's like the man of like 1,000 names, because like sometimes
Really,
they
yeah,
refer to him
seriously.
as like Tenzai, but then like on Breaking Ground he's referred to as Matt Bloom, but then when he was an announcer he was Jason Albert,
Albert.
and so he's kind of like the man of like 15 billion names.
Seriously, yeah. I would say Luke Gallows will be returning that name. I'm sure, and I agree with Sky Genie as well that Kenta has been treated fairly well as Hideo Itami. I know his momentum really was cut short. So if they are bringing Nakamura, personally, I would like to see Hideo and Nakamura in a tag team in NXT. I think Kenta and or at least Nakamura's charisma could really rub off on Hideo as far as adjusting into the WWE style. Because I mean, Nakamura has some charisma, let me tell you. So I think that'd be pretty cool. I know it's typical Japanese tag team, but the thing is, WWE's never really had a Japanese tag team.
Not treated like as seriously as they would treat those guys.
Yeah, I mean, like
We've had like joke tag teams, but
yeah,
that
Kai
not
and
like
Kai is
not like
happening.
this is Nakamura, this is Hideo Itami. These are badasses. Like, be scared of these guys. Or Orient Express, which was long before our time, or at least my time.
True story. Oh, and one final point before I go, I would like to note that do you think Carl Anderson will get the name change? Obviously Styles isn't.
I don't.
I-
Is that his real name, or
I would believe so.
let me do a quick. Let's
Me
do a
too.
quick
Carl
search on this. But I think that's his real name. So
Yeah,
I would
that's
think
his real
he
name.
will probably get a different name. I would think.
Think so.
I think so. I think anybody who wasn't associated. Well, see, I would say that, but then I don't think AJ Styles will get a name change.
No
Nakamura probably.
way.
Nakamura probably will, but I could see them sticking with Nakamura, even if he was just Nakamura.
Mhm.
I think Doc Gallows will be Luke Gallows again, and then Carl Anderson I think will probably get a new name, even if it's like something Carlson or something. Yeah,
Andy Carlson.
something ridiculous. He'll get the Dana Bryan treatment of you just switch the names.
Yeah, and it's also really obvious, how blatantly obvious that Finn, Carl, and Gallows will be a trio. Oh my lord! It's so
They'll
obvious.
at least have some interaction, like
Oh,
at this
it
point.
hurts. And I agree with Sky Genie. There's no way you could change AJ's name.
And
It's like changing-
very similar to Joe. Yeah,
Yeah, same with Punk and same with Sting. You really can't change any of their names because they're too well known in the business. But speaking about people who are well known in the business, that Huck Hogan guy, whoever that is, um, he supposedly there is a possibility he could be returning for this year's WrestleMania.
Now, Triple H did bring this up. I want to say November or a couple months back about, yeah, we'd be glad to have Hogan back. And I
Mhm.
said this back in June or whenever it broke out. I said he'll be back, and I think I remember saying that he would be back by WrestleMania.
Right.
And
I
who
agree.
knows? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know if people would accept him. I think most people would. I think
I think so.
generally, generally wrestling fans are forgiving. I mean, they keep forgiving Jeff Hardy and guys like that.
Yeah, really. Yeah, good lord.
So wrestling fans, as cynical as we can be at times, we are generally forgiving to our own, at least.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've always said if there is one fan base that is,
Like
loyal to.
I'll give you like, see if tomorrow night on Raw or whenever, uh not tomorrow night, but like, if next week on Raw Cult of Personality hit, people would like mark out and they'd yell and scream and they'd be like, yes, CM Punk.
Agreed.
And right now those are the same people going, oh, CM Punk's a loser. I hate CM Punk. He was never that good.
CM quitter. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's one of
Um.
those things. We're generally forgiving.
Oh yeah. Now the problem is with Hogan's return is that he is currently in a lawsuit with Gawker, and the trial is it's actually set to begin 3 weeks before Mania. So,
I
oops.
mean, I wouldn't count on Hogan for this WrestleMania, but probably next year's or at some point in the
Right,
future.
right. No, I could see that too.
I mean, you can't even really do a history of WWE without Hulk Hogan.
Oh yeah, he is the I guess one of the first cornerstones of the company. Well, at least of the WWF.
At least of modern wrestling as we think of it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, whether you love or hate him, I mean, history as we know it would be so different. But moving on from the news to Monday Night Raw, I'll let
Yes.
you lead this conversation because my memory is scattered of Monday Night Raw, but my commentary is not because there's a few segments that I do remember.
There are a few things I remember. Raw from the Smoothie King Center. We were talking about this on the pre-show we did. I
Mhm.
love the names of some of these arenas.
Oh my god, yeah, the
Smoothie
smoothie.
King Center.
At least, I mean, and it's corny and it's goofy,
It's better. It's
but
better than like I forget where the Dunkin' Donut Center is.
oh my god.
But like I know there's an arena called the Dunkin' Donut Center, and I laugh every time.
Well, check this out. Where I live, I live outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. For those of y'all who don't know, and there's a new venue. Like they do primarily like wrestling shows, and the venue is it's a former movie theater that was taken out by like this abandoned mall, and it's called, you guessed it, the Cinema. And I just
The
lower.
originality.
I just uh +1 for you.
So the show starts off, and I think I sent you a picture over the week. There's a picture floating online of like the last 5 Raws.
Yeah.
Stephanie and Vince in the ring. Roman comes out, and like they leave or
Confronts
something.
authority. Yeah.
And
They have
it's
like
like, what? Why? So I guess they did the same thing here. I missed the first hour or so. I couldn't be bothered to watch it back. I missed this. I cannot be bothered with these segments. My God, start a new way to start the show, please.
yeah, please. Oh my goodness gracious. Like break up the monotony. Have Roman Reigns come out first. Go for it.
Sky Genie brings up that WWE needs to put Byron Saxton backstage. I agree. Totally
uh
worthless.
yeah, you
Totally,
know,
totally, totally worthless.
you can definitely tell he's like the sidekick of the sidekick.
Like,
Like
like if John Cena's hurt, put him on commentary.
yeah, please.
I would just put like all the injured guys on commentary. Just have an 8-man booth.
Yeah, with as many
Like
people that are
I mean,
injured,
you
it's
get as
more than
much useful
20.
information. So then, Dean Ambrose versus Sheamus. Not much going on there. Ambrose actually did bust open Sheamus
Yeah, I
Sheamus
remember
hit his
that.
head against the ring post and was bleeding. So
Yeah, he
hey,
was
good for him, I guess.
busted.
Kevin Owens, of course, would beat up Dean Ambrose and leave him laying.
Of
Uh,
course, was fantastic. Was
uh,
fantastic.
Later on, we got an Ambrose promo where he's like, hey, I'm still here. I'm still fighting. And if Kevin Owens wants to fight, I'm here to fight him." And typical good Dean Ambrose promo. As usual.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
I,
He's
I
done.
do like, at least with this feud. He's for a while there, he was, and I love Dean Ambrose. So before
Like
I say this, but I think you know where I'm going. Where for a while he was kind of like this goofy, like kind of goofy. Like you really couldn't take him
he was like a
seriously.
Brian Pillman ripoff.
Yeah, he was just kind of you couldn't really take him seriously. I guess just because he didn't have anything serious to latch onto. But this feud with Kevin Owens has really done wonders for both guys. I think this is like easily the best thing going.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Sky Genie says Owens is the best reason to watch Raw, and that Ambrose has direction now. I would agree.
That
Ambrose
is
has
why
a direction
he's my
now.
favorite person.
He has a direction now. I think he's a fantastic Intercontinental Champion, and
Yeah.
if the things at the Rumble don't go the way I'd like them, I do hope that he holds on to that Intercontinental Championship for a long time.
No, I agree. Owens, of course, as everyone knows, is my favorite, wrestler in the current roster. He's just the best. The look, the attitude, the gimmick, just everything is just perfect. And of course, Ambrose is just, it's just, I don't want to say oil and water, but it's just it's a wonderful chemistry that they have, and it makes the Intercontinental title picture relevant again.
Right.
You
Exactly.
know, at least one mid card title matters, which we will discuss
We'll get
later.
on to that later on. We then got a backstage segment between Paul Heyman, Vince, and Stephanie. It's typical, my client doesn't want to be in the Rumble. He wants to be in the main event. And then the McMahons are all pissed, and they go into, like, the men's bathroom to talk about it or whatever the fuck. We then get Stardust and Titus O'Neil. These guys are feuding for a reason that I have no clue. Do you have any clue why these guys are fighting?
My answer is not with me at this time.
See, I think the fact that you had to say kind of said it, because like it's not like this is like a random one-off match. These guys have been have been having a feud for like 2 months now over nothing.
Yeah. Poor Titus. Like, I don't know. I just wish he would have a little bit more than just. I know they're building up to something. I don't really know what it is.
I see. I've heard people I've heard I've heard rumblings that this Titus is like trying to like get Cody back or whatever, but like I'm not getting that from this.
No, I don't know what the payoff is going to be. I would like to see them become bedfellows as a tag team.
I
Personally?
I mean, if you're gonna have these two, I think Darren's hurt, so like just have him be. I know it would be a direct ripoff of Booker T Goldust, but have them be Booker T and Goldust because that was entertaining, and I know that these guys could do that.
Is are we gonna let Cody do the old you remember the Goldust at that time when he would do like the schizophrenic, like the Tourette's kind of
Right.
thing, like just that kind of stuff. Oh my god, that would be wonderful. Please, let's just let that happen.
So we then get a segment with Jericho and the New Day. This is where Jericho made his back of the bus comment, and
Yeah.
people were all bent out of shape over it. And it's like Mark Henry went on Twitter later on. He's like, man, that's not what Jericho was talking about. He's like, I got to stick up for my boys, Jericho. That's not what they were talking about.
Yeah, actually, it was a whole bunch of people. It was Mark Henry, it was Teddy Long, Titus, I believe. Darren Young definitely was one of them. And the Usos did too. There was
Back of the bus is like the party section of the bus, and the
Yes.
front of the bus is for like the old people who want to sleep on the road.
As a touring musician, I am totally aware of the term and make full use of it. But Yeah, it's yeah. I because I didn't see it as something like. And besides, like Jimmy and Jay are Samoan. Come on.
They're not even, yeah, they're not even like African American, which if you're going to be offended by it, that's who he would have to apply it to.
Yeah.
So then it's the Usos versus New Day. This featured, I really wanted to talk about this finish here. This finish. I would normally hate this. Like I would bury this, like totally bury this in the ground. So Xavier Woods is interfering, and Jericho grabs the trombone. And Xavier looks over and he's begging and he's pleading, please don't break my trombone. And he's on his knees and he's praying, and Jericho holds it up in the air, and he bends it over his knee, and he breaks it, and Xavier Woods breaks down, like has a mental breakdown, and is crying over a
I
grown man is crying
we
over
all
a
did.
broken trombone.
Do you know how much those trombones
And I
cost?
understand he is a wrestler that makes money. He's a tag team champion, and he's
You don't know that.
crying.
You don't
He's
know that. Have you
crying
seen his
over
YouTube
this.
channel? That
this okay, fine.
he
That's
probably
not. No,
that
that's not
probably
his.
goes
That's
down to
Austin
like all his
Creed's.
game fetishes. It doesn't get like that trombone is the only thing that actually means like any money to
And
him.
so Jericho breaks this, and Xavier Woods breaks down, and New Day gets pinned off the distraction. That part's fine, but the way Xavier Woods overacted on this and broke down in tears. I believe these were actual tears that he was crying here. I
I would
wanted
do
to
the same.
hate this so bad. I cannot tell you how bad I wanted to come on here this evening and say, this was shit, this was terrible, I hated this. I can't. I can't. This was so goddamn entertaining. Holy shit, I was laughing. Like, it's one of those things where maybe it's just because it was so bad, it was good or whatever. I was laughing so hard watching Xavier have a breakdown over this trombone. Oh my god. This was hilarious. This was like Rusev So Fish of 2016, where it
Oh,
was so bad it was good. Oh my god. I've not laughed that hard on Raw in a long time. So I'll give these guys credit. They took a finish that if I saw that on paper, if I'm Vince and I see that on paper, I'd be like, that's shit. I hate it. Throw it out. Oh my god, they won me over. So I will give Xavier Woods and Jericho and everybody else credit that this was a finish that really should have not been, really should have been terrible, and it shouldn't have been any good. And I was laughing so hard.
oh my god. No, in all fairness though, the and yes, I totally agree with Sky Genie. That should be the OMG moment of the year.
Certainly the OMG moment of January. Although I guess the month isn't over yet.
Yeah, really. Yeah, and it's only January. And it's only January. The thing is that like, if someone did that to one of my guitars or my microphones, I would probably have the same like I don't want to say just this absolute just mental explode or implosion. There you go. That's the word. I would just implode right there in front of the live audience. Um, it would be wonderful. But what was the next segment?
We then got this is the segment I hated the most. Not even because the guys in it. The Wyatt family versus Social Outcast, and why this wasn't just a straight up murder of the Social Outcast by the Wyatt family, I don't know. Ryback comes in, he tosses out the Wyatt family. It's a thing that happens. Hooray for the Rumble.
I
Not much
know.
there really.
Way to like emasculate the Wyatts. They're absolutely whooping the
Like, and
job spot.
it's nothing against Social Outcast. I think the guys are great in that little stable, if you want to call it that. But my
Yeah, I
goodness,
mean
there's
they're
no
fine.
reason they should have been standing in. I know Ryback interfered and it was 5-on-4, but you can make sort of I guess an excuse or what have you. But man, there's no reason they should have been standing in the ring while the Wyatts walked away.
Well, no, my problem.
None. There's no
Well,
excuse for that.
I agree with you, but my bigger problem is that like they shouldn't even put up that much of a fight against the Wyatts. I like them. I like the social outcasts. I think that they're a great idea.
Sky
It
Genie pretty much
puts
feels the same way. He says, I like the group, but not at the expense of the Wyatts.
Yeah, really. And the fact of the matter is that like yes, they're an entertaining group. I'm glad that all four of these guys now have something to do. That's awesome, and they are getting some sort of a following as a more entertaining group. It's not like this like this 2008 to 2010
It's not like
WWE's version of
it's not like
comedy.
they're guys who it's not like they're a bunch of boring guys who are just that's their whole gimmick is that they're boring. League of Nations.
Yeah, no, I don't even get me started. But what I don't understand is that like the Wyatts are supposed to be like monsters, like out like legitimate like killers. Like Bray
Keyword
Wyatt should be a
supposed
fucking main eventer.
keyword supposed to.
Yeah, really seriously. And you get like you have like 1 week, and I don't get it. Like 1 week, like Braun Strowman like no sells like everyone.
That's the thing that kills me. They can't
The same with
decide. They can't
Braun
decide
Strowman,
whether Braun Strowman is friggin'
fucking all.
is like Undertaker or Eric Rowan.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, they can't decide are we gonna build this guy or is he just a jobber like Eric Rowan? We don't
And
know.
that's why everyone's so sick and tired of creative is it's this on and off switch of all the superstars that we have. It's just like, okay, well let's push this guy to the moon here this week.
I know
Next week.
Stone Cold Steve Austin has brought up like 50-50 booking in a lot of his podcasts like recently and it's
Yeah.
true. You can't 1 week, and we have a perfect example coming up in this next match. Although I'm willing to give it a break, I'm willing to give this next one a break and to see where the story goes. But you can't have a guy beat, let's say, Ryback. This is a big win over Ryback he got here, and then lose to like Big Show, and oh, what a shame he lost to Big Show. You can't do that.
I
So
know.
speaking of that, we get an example of it here: Alberto Del Rio versus Kalisto for the United States Championship. And after a pretty good match for the most part, Kalisto wins 1, 2, 3. Kalisto
It
is the
was
new United States champion.
right. No, it was a nice match, but the crowd didn't give a damn.
No, this is where I noticed, and I think I said it on Twitter as it was happening. This is where I think I retweeted a comment that said like this crowd is dead.
Yeah, they really just
Like
don't
I
give a
felt
damn.
I felt bad for these guys because the show didn't seem like it was going too terribly at this point, but
Right.
but
It's not.
man,
I
that
don't
crowd
think
did
it was.
not care at all.
I think because
At
they
least
already
during
knew
the
ahead
match,
of time.
like
I think
they popped for the finish. They did at least pop when Kalisto won, and they were happy for that. But like during the match, as far as like the highs and the lows of a wrestling match, they did not care at
Oh
all.
yeah, they really don't. And the thing is, like Del Rio is like I'm a huge Del Rio fan, huge, and I don't know, I don't get it. I have never seen a superstar that actually does so well in Ring of Honor, does so well in Lucha Underground, does so well in every other promotion. But when it comes to WWE, it still seems like every time, every week, whether it's on Raw or SmackDown or wherever, that he's just there's something missing.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, and I think I said it. I think I said it before, maybe last week or the week before, about like I feel like Del Rio's promos are really, really bad now. Like he was never great on promos, but I feel like especially the past couple weeks, I feel like his promos are getting worse.
Yeah, like I liked when he first came in and was doing like, "My name is Alberto Del
Like when he first came,
Rio," but you already
when he
know that.
first came in, like 6 years ago, when he was, I have all these cars and this money, and I'm better than you. Like that was like I thought that was great. I thought
He
he
was
did
decent, but
I thought he did a great job at that. And then ever since like I don't know, he won Money in the Bank or he won his first title or whatever, he's just been I'm Mexican. It's just
yeah,
like, and you can't get behind that like one way or the other.
people really stopped caring about him like when he cashed the Money in the Bank in
Yeah,
on
it was
Young
weird
Punk.
because people I remember like he was maybe not an internet darling, but like people liked his work. And then when he won the title, like the second he won the title, people were like, "Oh, I hate Alberto Del Rio. He's the worst."
No, There we go. But when it comes to like the match itself, I'm actually like looking through the Raw results as we speak because now that I have them up for me, Del Rio and Kalisto did put on a good match, and we'll talk about their match in SmackDown. But I was really proud to see how far Kalisto has come as far as a storyteller in the ring. Now, what pissed me off the most the entire night, you heard me. Oh my God, I was livid when Kalisto mentioned Eddie Guerrero.
Oh my God! Here's the thing. I did not notice. This at the time because I honestly I was kind of like, what the hell is he talking about? And then we'll just talk about it here. On SmackDown, he cut what I assume was practically the same promo. And he mentioned, he's like, I won this for Eddie. He practically said those words. I can't quote him verbatim, but he practically said, I won this for Eddie. Or I won this because of Eddie.
Yeah, and
Eddie has been dead for 10 years.
I'm
sorry for yelling and I'm sorry for blowing out your ears there. But the dude has been dead for 10 years. Kalisto doesn't even have a damn relationship with this man. He probably never even met him.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly.
At least Rey Mysterio was his best friend.
It's just like Batista needs.
At least Aiden English is married to his daughter. Aiden English is more of a Guerrero than Kalisto or Alberto Del Rio.
Oh my God. Oh.
And he's white. Oh my God! See, I wasn't as pissed about. I wasn't pissed about this Monday because I completely missed his Eddie comment. I was pissed Thursday.
Oh, dude.
Let this man rest in peace, for God's sake.
Oh, we'll get to it. We'll get to it then. We'll
so I agree with you. That. And besides, like, can we be happy for Kalisto and not Eddie Jr.?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Like, can every Latino like single star stop mentioning Eddie? Like that shouldn't be your cue to win a title, please. Like, and I know you mentioned Ray too. I know you said
Sky Genie brings up a point that's WWE scripting, and that's true. This is not necessarily against Kalisto. I'm not blaming him here. It's just this whole idea that you're Latino. So you have to mention Eddie Guerrero or Rey Mysterio in a promo.
Yeah, exactly. Like I agree with Sky Genie. But the thing is that, like, yeah, seriously, Eddie Guerrero wasn't the only luchador that made it in the WWE. Come on.
And even if he was, that doesn't mean you have to mention him.
I know, seriously.
Let Kalisto make his own stardom.
Yeah, at least he's away from that
God.
fucking Sin Cara mask curse.
Yeah, really. So Kalisto wins the title. The fans are happy. Good for him. We then get it's supposed to be Charlotte versus Brie Bella, but Becky comes out, beats up Charlotte. Good stuff there.
Awesome, which was great.
I thought Becky Lynch did a really good job. She showed a lot of fire here. I thought her promo afterwards about like I'm gonna get Charlotte and I can't wait to rip her arm off. I thought all that was pretty well done. So again, this for as bad as they have messed up the Divas Revolution. They're turning a corner.
Mm-hmm.
Much like with Roman Reigns, at least as of a couple weeks ago, they're turning a corner. There's potential.
Oh yeah, and I'm glad to see that Becky Lynch is legitimately the only face in the Divas division.
Yeah, really. Like, come on.
It's
And that's true. I mean, there's no other face unless Paige comes back. I'm assuming she would be a face when she comes back.
I won't let her be a face.
But like, I don't. Yeah,
She poked at a dead guy.
Yeah, I mean that's a little. I mean that's one of those things. You got to be a heel for like a year. That's just like an automatic. That's automatic. You're a heel for a year. Like.
Yeah, you just insulted a dead guy. And the thing is, not just any dead guy. It's Reed fucking Flair. You like really? The son of Ric Flair, the brother
who
of
people
the
love.
Divas champion. No big deal or anything.
Yeah, so all that stuff was fine. We then get the 1 versus all match earlier in the night. Vince said, "You're gonna wrestle all these guys," and
turned out to be just
it was pretty. Yeah, it was really it wasn't so much 1 versus all. It was 1 versus Kevin Owens, who probably ate them all. So this match was eight. It was a good match though. It was a good match.
He probably
Roman.
only ate the Ascension's black tights. That's why they wore those awful red things, those
The
eyesores.
Ascension period are awful, no
Yeah,
matter
like
what they wear.
their menstruation gear.
So
God, it's
So it
awful.
looks like Reigns is gonna win. A bunch of guys interfere. I think New Day's in there. Then
Yeah,
you get Brock Lesnar. That's what people wanted to see anyway. They all
I
knew Brock
think
Lesnar was coming out. They wanted to see him. He comes out, suplexes everybody. I know you have an issue with somebody suplexed, and
yeah.
F5s everybody and clears the ring. Picks up Roman Reigns. I thought they were gonna go a different route with this. I thought they were gonna go the Brock Lesnar pulls Roman Reigns up and like they sort of respect each other kind of thing. But no, he hits an F5 and walks out, and Roman kind of gives him that sly smile, like, "Yeah, you got me this time." Which that's another thing. Much like the Jericho trombone incident. Normally, I would bury that to hell and back as far as why would Roman be smiling? He just got F5. I thought this was a nice callback to the WrestleMania match. I took it as, hey, you got me this time, but you're not going to be so lucky next time. Maybe I'm optimistic and I took this the right way. I didn't mind Roman smiling at the end. With that, I will leave the floor to you because I know you have some thoughts on this.
Fuck Lesnar. Like plain and simple.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There's your show tonight. We're gonna
Like there it is. I know. Like apologize for the swear, but like that's
beep.
just like like damn. Like really. Like I was so upset because like I know they've been hyping and talking about Owens and Lesnar for a while, and I know we've been trying to get this interaction. So you think they would just kind of keep it safe and keep their boundary, to build Owens' legitimacy, because he's a prize fighter. That would help, please. So what do? First thing he does, takes out Del Rio. That already set me off because Del Rio actually is an MMA and he's legitimate. So that didn't go well. And then he takes out. Well, he took out New Day first, and then it was Del Rio, and then it was Kevin Owens he should not have done a German suplex on Kevin Owens. Should not.
I'll say like Owens. They probably should have had Owens roll out of the way. Maybe make the Ascension take that bump. Put like
Yes.
Stardust or friggin' Tyler Breeze in there. So I can see that point. At the same time, he just wrestled like this long ass match.
The only one that gave any sort of like dent in the Lesnar armor is Sheamus,
which is disgusting.
Yeah, that double pissed me off.
I will try to on this podcast remain unbiased as far as my views on wrestlers, and if guys do a good job, I'll be more than happy to say that they did a good job.
Fuck the league.
But Sheamus is possibly the exception as far as I don't care. Like if you're a fan of Sheamus, I'm sorry, but I can't be like it's one of those things like I can't be bothered. Yes. So seeing Sheamus get offense on Lesnar kind of hurt me inside.
Oh my no! I will like if anything if like give Owens legitimacy, but like have him beat him up a little bit and then just like have like Lesnar push him back and then like Owens like out of shock and he'll just roll out. I'll be like I'll get you next time or something like that.
The only thing I'll say is like he was in like this long ass match, so it's not like he was like fresh and Lesnar just punked him out. Like he was in this brutal, 10-minute match here.
No,
I know that's not I know you're not going to accept that, but
no, I'm not going to accept it. Hell no, I'm not going to. No.
Sky Genie says he liked. I think he's referring to Sheamus here. He liked his heel turn at first, but it grew old fast. Yeah, I would agree. I was the same way. I dug the feud with Ziggler for what it was, but then after that, I couldn't be bothered.
Kiss me arse. That we could.
I mean, you could have had okay. I mean, that was kind of stupid, but for what it was.
I thought his feud was, but other than that, I thought his feud with Ziggler was fine. I thought his feud with Neville was fine. Like him going after like the term vanilla midgets. Like the little
which is funny because he's the most vanilla of all of them. Like I don't know if that was like the joke,
and not just by skin pigment, but the thing is that where Sheamus lost it with me. His heel turn was great, by the way. Like the whole like changing his look, the entrance, the theme song. Like he needed a whole new atmosphere to be in, and it's fine. I like his entrance. It still is very refreshing to look at. This Celtic warrior figure is a nice change of pace. But where Sheamus lost me at was at actually Elimination Chamber. That's where he lost me. Where he was in the Intercontinental Championship match, and I thought he was going to win. And then he lost, of course, to Ryback. And good for Ryback, but like, I just felt like he's just going to stagnate. Next thing I know, he won the Money in the Bank, and then the Money in the Bank to me was the final nail in that coffin.
Yeah, that's Sky Genie says the same thing. Like Money in the Bank lost him. I was kind of lost before that, so the Money in the Bank win just confused the hell out of me.
Oh no! I know the Money in the Bank win pissed you off.
Well, not so much pissed me off. It's just kind of like, why, I feel like we talked about Sheamus a lot more than we really should have.
Really need to. All right.
I actually did catch SmackDown this week. It started off. There was a nice promo with Dean Ambrose. I like the way they set this up. I don't know if you saw it or not, but they had this thing where Renee was in the back and she's like, "Oh, we're getting word that like Dean Ambrose wants to have a word with Kevin Owens," and then like all of a sudden the camera like turns around and you see like the speeding like pickup truck come in, and Ambrose apparently hitched a ride with the world's most dangerous driver. And, then he's like walking through the back. He's like, if Kevin Owens wants to talk, like, I want to talk to Kevin Owens, so I'm going to be in the ring, and Kevin Owens better meet me there. And then he walked out to the ring, and gist of it, he wants a last man standing match. They had a little bit of interaction with Sheamus in there. They had a tag match later on. Long short of it, Kevin Owens accepted. Neville made the save. Then we had a baffling tables match where the Dudley Boys went over Luke Harper and Rowan. Don't ask me why. Kalisto cut his promo that I talked about earlier as far as I did this, pretty much saying I did this for Eddie, which the Social Outcasts defeated. This is a great team. I don't know how much you know of SmackDown. This team is great. The Social Outcasts defeated Jack Swagger, Zack Ryder, Damian Sandow, and Goldust. What a what a team.
What the hell?
What a team there, right?
It's
what a
the
team.
Social Outcast versus the Creative Has Nothing For You.
Yeah, really. Really. Then the U.S. title match, Alberto Del Rio defeated Kalisto. And Del Rio is, once again, the U.S. champ. And I think they're going to do a rematch this Monday.
Are they gonna change titles every event?
Oh my god! It's like, you remember that Cena Orton feud where they switched belts every month, like 2009.
Yes.
Sky Genie's wondering if the Social Outcasts are faces on Raw, then heels on SmackDown. That's what it looks like, which is very weird. Becky Lynch defeated Brie Bella via submission, and then Dean Ambrose and Neville against Owens and Sheamus, and did a double count out. Ambrose and Neville have their music play, so pretty much they win.
Yeah. I'm just still bent out of shape over the Kalisto loss. Like
I admit, I'm not the biggest fan of this. I think he should have held it at least for a little bit more, maybe till the Rumble. But I'm willing to see where it goes.
Yeah. Hopefully, I'm curious to see what they're. I would take it they're gonna have a match for the title at the Royal Rumble. I imagine.
Probably. Although I don't know, they're doing the match Monday, so who knows?
Jesus Lord. Of course they are. I know. It's just. I don't know. You would think that with Del Rio, I'm just so disappointed. I'm just like at a loss for words because you think Kalisto would have like a legitimate title reign for a little while, and next thing you know, no, they're just gonna let it completely slide. What was next? That was it.
That was SmackDown. So now
that's awful.
It was a decent but nothing special episode. I mean, really, only two things happened.
Yeah, that's true. And I know with NXT, the only thing really worth noting is the number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship is Carmella because she won a battle royal.
Mm. Good for her. I haven't seen too much of Carmella, so I don't really, I can't say yay or nay, but good for her, I guess.
Yeah.
Insightful NXT commentary here.
Yeah.
So I think
now it's topic
I
time.
think it's time for the topic now. I need like some sort of drum roll or some sort of like special noise to signify that this is the topic of the week.
Does that help?
It's time for the topic of the week.
Okay, future. So, we're going to be discussing our top 5 best United States champions. Due to the title change, the double title change this week, we felt like this was an
appropriate topic.
Yes, agreed. So
now hold on a sec. You're gonna have to go first because I know my top 2, but after that it gets fuzzy. So I'm gonna defer to you on this one. Okay. If you have a list, because I gotta think about this for a little bit.
Okay. Coming in at number 5, I would actually have to give it to. See, that's the thing. I have 4, but not 5. Actually, no. I know exactly who I'd give number 5 to. I would give it to. It's a tie. I would say it's a tie between Dean Ambrose and Zack Ryder.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why we need to think before we.
Yes.
Before we do
really.
These things.
I would say it's a tie between Dean Ambrose and Zack Ryder because it really was such a big deal for Zack Ryder to win it.
Now, Dean Ambrose, I think we brought this up before we started recording here. Talk about a title reign that
never mattered.
I'm trying to remember the exact phrasing I used earlier, but talk about a title reign that was so inconsequential and lasted so long.
I know there are better ones really in actuality, but the thing is,
I think he held it for. I want to say he held it for like a year. Legit.
He held it for a little over a year, yeah. And that's just it. He
had a nothing reign. Yeah, Sky Genie brings it up. He defended it. I think literally 5 times. Yeah, I think that was legit. Like he legit defended it 5 times.
His reign is so awful that it has to be noteworthy.
It's one of those things like you almost feel like that shouldn't even be acknowledged.
Yeah,
and they never do. They never do say it. Dean Ambrose, former U.S. champion. They never say it. How many times have you heard them say it? Never. Not once.
Yeah, true. Very, 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 very true. So I guess I would probably give it to Zack Ryder because the moment meant because they still at least acknowledge him as former United States champion. They still recognize.
And that was also like the biggest thing he did in his career.
It's like the only big thing
outside of like getting chokeslammed by Taker at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that too, or getting kicked in the balls by Eve Torres. But so that's
my number 5. I kind of feel like I'm cheating here because I kind of feel like really only WWE US Championship applies. So admittedly, with this number 5, I feel like I'm cheating, but I'm gonna go with Stunning Steve Austin because I really kind of. This is maybe a shitty reason, but for no other reason that I can't remember any other U.S. champions that had any kind of memorable reign to them.
Right.
So I'm going to go Stunning Steve Austin as my number 5. Actually, he should probably be higher, but I have other people higher, so, sue me. my first 3 are interchangeable. I'll say that. So.
Okay. Number 4 for me is The Miz.
I completely forgot about the Miz's reign, but you're right. He had a really good reign there.
Yeah.
2010.
Not necessarily because of the how long he had it or whatever, but like everything he did with it, like as far as with
I think he won Money in the Bank while having it. So
yeah, he did, and it was wonderful. It really was. So yeah, that in itself should say that he was a great U.S. champion and his time was coming for sure. That sells it for my number 4.
All right, my number 4. He hasn't really had any like one memorable reign, and honestly, I might be confusing some of his stuff with with the Intercontinental Championship. My number 4 is Kofi Kingston. No discernible reign, but just he's always a guy who you can give it to, and the fans are, he's over with the fans. You can always give it to him, and that's kind of his spot, so to speak.
Yeah, you could even say that about Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, I
Or
guess you could kind of interchange Kofi and Ziggler in that, like, you can give these guys the U.S. belt, and it's sort of it's okay, it's their spot, so to speak. Kind of like Jericho with the Intercontinental Championship.
yeah.
Sky Genie brings up Carlito. That's
Yeah,
a good pick. I mean, I think
he
some of
won
that is.
on
I
his
think some of that
first night
is.
in the company.
Yeah, I think some of that is. We've never been a big fan of Carlito, so I think that probably plays into it some. But he did have at least a memorable moment with the U.S. belt.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The So I guess coming in at number 3, speaking of superstars in that era, MVP.
Ooh, wow.
MVP is my number 3.
Okay, that's shocking.
And you know how much I love MVP.
Yeah,
MVP is,
I would have thought he was gonna be number 1 or number 2 for you.
no.
So my number 3, my number 3 is actually gonna be Eddie Guerrero. I believe he was the first guy to hold it when they brought brought the belt back. I don't remember too much about his reign, but they did seem to always bring that up as far as Eddie Guerrero, former U.S. champ.
Yeah, I see.
And it did lead to him becoming WWE champion.
Yeah, screw Zack Ryder. I'll put Eddie Guerrero as my number 5. That'll work. But
I could have put who I think you're going to put on the list. But honestly I kind of forgot about him. So go ahead with your number.
My number 2. Am I allowed to mention this guy?
Yeah. I mean, I hate to sound like Mr. PC or whatever. I know I've kind of been sort of that guy and what he did and this and that. But in all seriousness, if you want to mention Benoit, I'm not gonna like chastise you or anything.
Okay. Well, my number 2 is Chris Benoit. He had some really his reign was very memorable, especially with his match against MVP at WrestleMania 23. I think that's definitely the most memorable United States Championship match that I remember.
It's certainly the biggest U.S. Championship match at WrestleMania. The best U.S. Championship match at WrestleMania. All 3 of them.
Oh yeah.
Because actually, you know what? I probably should. Despite what happened and everything, I probably should have put Benoit on this list because I think he's the only guy to defend the belt at Mania like twice. Maybe even 3 times if I recall correctly. But I know he did at least twice. Actually, no, I think it was only twice. But still, that's more than anybody else has defended the U.S. belt at WrestleMania.
Dean Ambrose.
Half the time, it's not even on WrestleMania, and if it is, it's in the Money in the Bank ladder match.
Yeah, that's true. So who's your number 2?
My number 2, the guy you mentioned earlier, MVP.
There you go.
Just he improved so much during that reign. I want to say he held it for close to a year. I could be wrong on that, but he had a great feud with Matt Hardy at the time. Kind of wish that had gotten an appropriate blow off. They kind of rushed that when Matt Hardy came back from his injury. But no, some great times with MVP as the U.S. champ, and he improved so much during that time that by the time he lost it, you could see that guy one day being a world champion, which I think he should have been. Sky Genie brings up a good one. JBL, decent U.S. champ. I want to say 2006. I think he held it. I think he held it again, like when he came back from retirement. But I could be wrong on
that. Yeah.
So you're number 1, and I get the sense that we both have the same number 1.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna say at the same time.
And his name is
Sergeant Slaughter.
Of course.
No, Ric Flair is my number one.
Oh, really? Oh.
No, it's John Cena.
Okay. Okay, I was gonna say, wait a second.
No.
I set you up in everything. I threw you, like I took the softball, and Sky Genie might not get this, but I took the softball, and I lobbed it up in the air, and I threw it right in the strike zone, right in the center area, and you're supposed to knock that thing out of the park.
Oh,
You got a nice
shit.
double though.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. But no, how could you not mention John Cena as a great United States champion? How could you not? Especially over even just in the course of 2015.
Yeah, I mean, you sometimes forget he was U.S. champ 10 years ago, also. But even just this 2015 reign, the great matches, the fact that, and I saw people commenting like when he faced Rollins at SummerSlam, the U.S. belt felt more important than the Rollins belt.
Yeah, my God. Wait, John Cena actually